Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today, update on my garden do-it-yourself project, right? It's like gardening, harvest league, that kind of stuff. So, as I was explaining in my last video, like the basics of gardening, right? What is a pylon, like storage tanks and whatnot. I've been spending another I would say 5 hours creating what I think is the perfect garden. And perfect is always like personal, right? That means if you're buying seeds, this is not the garden for you. If you have solo play, this might be the garden for the guidance for you. Yeah, a nice guidance, sir. So what am I talking about? Let's take a look at my current sacred grove, right? Or the forest of tanks, better said. So this is it. So a long story short, you need shit tons of tanks, right? And yeah, this shit tons of tanks, dude. So if I check my write down, you know, my OCD always tells me to write everything down. So if we take my template for the Sacred Grove, I planted a total of 431 storage tanks. We have 26 dispersers and 173 pylons to connect everything, with basically only 5 collectors. So the main idea is to have 3 different locations where you plant tier 1 seeds. One is on the top left side here, where we have a triple tier 1 cluster, and then basically every single space filled out. So whatever I'm going to do, there is no space, you cannot plant something here. I want to have a garden that is 100% filled out and efficient, right? Efficient in terms of, okay, hey, there is a spot, this could be another storage tank, you know? And that's why I'm just saying I want to create this 100% perfect garden for myself, to just never worry about my garden anymore, just farm, seeds, plant, grow, harvest, profit, you know, that kind of stuff. So, on the top left side, I have my triple purple garden collectors, basically, with the triple tier 1 seeds. Then following down the road, we have on the second cluster here is my triple yellow, like vivid cluster jewel here, cluster collector seed thing, you know, like, you get the idea? And on the right side, I have my triple blue one. So this is perfect spots here. You can fit exactly 3 fully grown out collectors here. And that's it, right? The rest is pretty much... Oh, wait. It's a good sell, dude. 1x. I always forget this. Every time I record a video, I forget to D&D. And dare you if you don't buy this now. So, 1 Exalt, this ring. I bought it for 20 chaos. Shh. That's a good ring, though. It's a good ring. You want to take a screenshot of the ring, or... Thank you. Good. So, Exalt's back in the stash and D&D. /D&D. Good. So, as I was saying, 3 groups of a 3-way collector cluster, basically. And then we have on the top right side, we have this big red blinking thing here, right? And this is because I ran out of juice, and that's always bad. But overall, like here are always like my tier 3, tier 2 seeds, and also tier 4 seeds. Like on these clusters here, you can plant every single seed that you want. So basically it means on my left top side, bottom left side, and bottom right side, I can basically just spam grow my tier 1 seeds, and the resulting tier 2 seeds can be planted on the top right side here. We have 2 collectors of each color to get things going, right? So basically this template here, which is like the most min-maxed one, is still from this 99% efficiency garden, right? Where I said this is actually not really... This will not work out. This would only work out if you buy thousands of tier 1 seeds, right? So you can plant all of those. But if you're just like really mapping, you find like, now they buffed the seed rate, but I think you find like, let's say 20 in average per map. That means after 10 maps, when your things should be ready to harvest, like I'm always doing like a 10 map cycle, you get like 200 seeds, right? And 200 seeds is basically close enough to get those 3 full again, just the tier 1s, right? Not talking about tier 2 to fill up the tier 2s. So in solo play, you will not have enough seats to be able, or find seats to be able to get to fill up more than 3 tier 1 clusters, right? But this one on the top right side is something I copied here, because this just makes the most sense. This image, linked in the description below if you want to take a look, but this is exactly what I rebuilt here with a double cluster setup, with all the pylons and dispersers and so on, because it's just, this is just the perfect template. It's the perfect, for me, basically, the perfect layout. It just fills up 100% of all spots with all the dispersers and stuff like that. So this works pretty much on its own, but the rest is just like self-made tank cluster. And why do I have so many tanks, you might ask? The thing is, you don't need anything else. You know, like if we take a look back on this picture, right? You have your clusters to grow your tier 3, 4 seats over here, and tier 2 seats, whatever is higher than tier 1. Then I just explained that it's nonsense, basically, to get more than 3 collectors for tier 1 seats unless you're buying seats. So the rest of the map is empty. So why not just fill it up with mass tanks? Because at some point I was talking to a guy that is permanently farming tier 4 seats, basically, right? And he says like one single harvest can give him like 25,000 life force. 25,000 life force, and even more sometimes. So sometimes you just have crafts that you don't need. For example, my Bleed Bow Gladiator, you know, I don't need any kind of caster modifiers or defense modifiers or something like that. Even if I can augment or whatnot, I cannot use it, so I have to store the life force, right? And 25,000 fills up a shit ton of tanks. And if you do this like a couple of times, you're gonna have massive amounts of juice. And I did have quite some, I had like 15 or 20 tanks already filled up when I planted this from my previous gardens, and everything is empty now. You know why? Because one single disperser use here soaked up thousands of juice, just because every single plant here is tier 3, tier 3, tier 3. Like, these need a lot of, like 483 units, or at least like, what is it? We need one that is actually blinking so we actually see. 65, right? This one, 53, this one, 60, this one, 60. So just those 4 plants will take up like 200 storage, like 1 tank almost full of juice, every single growth cycle. So if you do it like I did, like planting mass tier 2 and tier 3 seeds, I probably need like 10 or 15,000 life force to get 1 growth cycle done. It's, or at least for the whole process, right? That's why I need so freaking many tanks, and it's the only good way to make use out of your garden. So there is one thing missing, and this is why I'm just showcasing this before making a guide about it, like a guide how to rebuild this one. And this is because I need to test it, okay? So I need to really start mapping and just spamming those things to just keep on growing and to see if I miss something. Because one thing in theory where you say like, this might make sense, I will just build it like that. And once you actually start playing, start finding seeds, start placing, start harvesting, grow your tier 2, tier 3 seeds and so on, then you will know and notice what you lack. Do you need more tanks? Well, in my garden, probably not. Will you need more collectors? Do you need more fields and stuff like that? So then you can adjust it. And once, I would say, in a week or so, I pretty much have tested enough to see if this is actually the best use out of the garden. What I think at the moment it is, okay? And the next thing is, there is only a couple of spaces here and on the other side here left. And this is meant for these, what is it called? The last item here, this, oh god, I always forget. The horticrafting station, right? I did not have enough juice yet. Like I said, I just started to mass plant tier 2, tier 3 seeds. So when this one grows out, I can buy a couple of those, I guess, with the resulting life force. And then I need to check if this is enough space or how to connect those and so on, to actually be able to get the maximum use out of it. So maybe we're gonna fall off some tanks over here to just make this area a little bit bigger. But this is just my working area over here, right? Where I can like add, remove things. And here on the other side is all like perfectly placed, maximum efficiency on pylons, on tanks, whatever. So I don't need to worry about that. Like the area is completely filled out. This is just the only blank space and the one over here where I can actively change something without ruining my whole system. And at the moment I'm running a total of 144 purple tanks, 145 vivid tanks, and 142 primal tanks. So we're pretty much even. Like, OCD wise, I hate this because I would like to have exact the same amount of every single item in my garden, right? But it's just not working out this well because you still have to take more pylons. For example, I needed more pylons on yellow than on purple just because I had to connect my tank forest to the upper side here, right? To get this even going. And this looks like shit when you have like 2 yellow plants over here or pylons. But hey, it has to work, and it's kind of working this way, at least for me right now. There is only one problem that I figured out with this garden system. And this is every time you're actually finding a seed cache. Let's just go Act 9 and just get one of these seed caches going. It lags, you know. Probably I think that the game pretty much loads your garden every time you're clicking on the harvest, right? So loading my forest of tanks, which is almost like 400, I don't know, like 431 or so tanks with all the pylons and everything in use, lags out the game a little bit, right? So when I'm in my garden, it's okay, you know. The problem is you have to dash around because moving around the tank forest is not that easy because you're permanently clicking on a tank, you know. So I'm just dashing around in my garden. But hey, we talk about efficiency and not quality of life here, right? So, how will we... there. Here it is. So if I click on that one, as you saw, I got a minor lag spike. This was not too bad. Yesterday when I was mapping, I think it is once you fill up your tanks, once it starts dispersing, right? So if my tanks are full again, or at least like half full, and I'm activating all those dispersers again, so they spread juice, so these plants can actually keep on growing, right? Every time in a map I click on that, I have like almost, I would say, half a second to a second freeze screen, just because it probably loads the garden before I even enter. So that's my only solution to this, right? Because dropping 3 items cannot lag you out that heavily, right? So, and since you're always getting the entrance from where you get the seed, it's probably just it's preloading the garden all the time. But yeah, this is my current state of the art with my beautiful garden. As I said, this 99% efficiency garden. Link is in the description below. As I said, the only thing I took out of it is basically this cluster over here, because it's just really good to plant all your other seeds that are not tier 1. It's perfectly managed from the size, and it's just working as intended. And now it's just about to keep on testing to just plant more trees plant more seeds, and see how this one works out. And eventually at some point we will be able to get those tier 4 seeds and spawn the bosses, and we're gonna see how they will be like, or how they will look like. And my garden just bugged out. There is no life bars, but it's perfect for a screenshot for the thumbnail, I assume. Yeah. So if somebody needs me, I will be here in my tank forest, right? All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.